Hi, welcome to Rules Challenge. My name's Carter Maxwell, and in this episode we're going to be talking about Hansa Teutonica again. I've already done one video on it, but in this video I wanted to do the expansions. I've had the expansions for several years now, but now that the big box has come out that includes both expansions, I figured there'd be a lot more people interested in playing on these maps. Now, in case you're new to the Rules Challenge, just to give you an overview of how the show works, it's basically a video FAQ, but it's in the form of a test. I'll run through a number of real game situations, and after each move I'll just stop and ask legal or illegal, and then I'll come back on and answer the question and give some explanation. I imagine most of you would have found your way here having already seen my video on the Hansa Teutonica base game. Just in case though, I'll put a link to it in the upper corner here. And if you did see that video already, just bear with me a moment here while I go over some introductory things. Most important to mention is that I'll be using some terms here that you might not even recognize from your version of the rulebook. That's because I am using the terms from the newest version of the rulebook, which came with the big box edition. Some things like offices and contours that were talked about in the old rulebook, you'll never hear come out of my mouth. Instead of an office now, it's trading post, and you'll hear me use that term a lot. Some of the changes are more subtle, like instead of claim a route, it's now create a trade route. Also, when I talk about the pieces, you'll never hear me mention merchants and traders. People tend to confuse those terms, so I just stick with cubes and discs. Also, you may be wondering what I'm doing, reaching over to a side tray on occasion. I like to keep the general stock separate because it's too easy, at least with new players, to confuse the personal supply and the general stock. So I figure if you keep the general stock totally across the board, it's a lot tougher for people to make that mistake. I'm going to be running through moves in a 4-player game on both maps. I'll start out with the Eastern Hanseatic League map that's got the distinctive blue permanent bonus markers at the top and 3 green cities around the board. And then I'll finish up with the Britannia map. I'll put timestamps in the comments section, so in case you're just interested in one map or the other, you'll know where to find the start of that. We're going to start off with Blue's turn, and for her first action, she's going to take an income action. She's currently at the 2nd level of her bank ability, allowing her to take 5 pieces. So she'll take that disc out of there and 4 additional pieces. Then for her second action, she wants to do a place, and she'll place it on a ship space of the Stralsund-Malmö route. Then for her third and final action, she wants to create a trade route on that same route. So first she'll score the adjacent cities, nobody in Stralsund. Blue controls Malmö, so that'll be a point for Blue. Next, she'll use that permanent bonus marker, which allows her to advance 1 step on her privilege ability. Then she wants to establish a trading post. She now has the orange level of privilege, so she'll clear those 2 discs from the route and move the cube into Stralsund. The rules specify that the permanent bonus markers are used at the end of the action. Thus, they're used in a slightly different order than regular bonus markers, and this can throw people off. Let's throw a regular bonus marker in there to show the difference. Normally, if you're resolving to create a trade route action, it would be score the adjacent cities, take the bonus marker, then establish a trading post. With the permanent bonus markers, though, it's score the adjacent cities, establish a trading post, then resolve the permanent bonus marker. It bears noting here, though, that the permanent bonus marker is considered part of the create a trade route action. It's not its own separate action that you're doing after finishing the create a trade route action. This is important to keep in mind for end of game purposes. Let's say somebody created a trade route here and caused a player to reach 20 points and trigger the end of the game. They would nevertheless get to use this permanent bonus marker as part of that action when they are creating that trade route. Now it's Red's turn, and for her first action, she's going to take a cube from her personal supply and place it. For her second action, she's going to take 2 cubes from her personal supply displace green and pay another one to the general stock. Green will move that displaced cube to an adjacent route and also place the bonus piece on that same route. Then for her third action, red is going to create a trade route between Stettin and Frankfurt. She'll first score the adjacent cities. That'll be 1 point for red, 1 point for blue. Then she'll take that bonus marker. She'll also right away take a replacement bonus marker. She'll put the bonus marker next to her player board. She'll put the replacement bonus marker on her silver plate. Next, since she has the orange level of privilege, she'll go ahead and establish a trading post in Frankfurt. She'll remove the excess piece and move the cube into there. Then finally, to wrap up her turn, she has to put that replacement bonus marker on the board, and she'll put that on the route between Halle and Dresden. That move was illegal. Everything was fine until red placed that replacement bonus marker. The rules state that there must be at least one open trading post space next to the route where you place the bonus marker. Halle is a full city, and Dresden doesn't actually have trading posts. Now, of course, it's possible to get pieces into Dresden, but it doesn't have trading post spaces for the purposes of bonus marker placement. Now it's Green's turn, and we're really getting into the cities now where my pronunciation is going to go from bad to terrible. For his first two actions, Green's going to place 2 cubes from his personal supply. Then for his third action, Green's going to create a trade route between Malmö and Visby. First, he'll score the adjacent cities, so that'll be a point for blue. Then he'll establish a trading post. He'll clear off the excess pieces and move a cube into Malmö using his orange level of privilege. Then he'll use that permanent bonus marker to put a piece into a green city. He'll take a cube from his personal supply and he'll place it in Waren to the right of the blue cube that's already there. That move was legal. The part that people get hung up on is whether that green cube being placed into Waren should have gone to the right of the blue cube or to the left. That depends on how it's getting there. If it comes from a permanent bonus marker like it did in this case, it always goes to the right of existing pieces. If it were placed there as a result of using an additional trading post bonus marker, then the cube would go to the left. And by the way the Big Box Rulebook handles the section on the city of Waren has some people wondering if maybe it operates a bit differently than the other green cities, in that perhaps you can move a piece in there just by creating a trade route. But no, it is just like the other green cities. The only way you'll get a piece in there is by using the permanent bonus marker up there on the route between Malmö and Visby, or by creating a trade route that connects to Waren and using the additional trading post bonus marker when you do it. Now we're on to Yellow's turn, and for Yellow's first action, he's going to place a cube, and then for his second action, he'll place a disc. Then for his third action, he'll create a trade route between Belgard and Kulm. First, he'll score the adjacent cities, and there's just one trading post, and that belongs to Yellow, so Yellow will score 1 point. Yellow wants to establish a trading post, and she's got an additional trading post bonus marker, so she's going to go ahead and flip that over. She'll remove the excess pieces to her general stock and move a cube into Belgard. Now that Belgard has a trading post in it, Yellow will advance that completed city marker. This move really tends to strike people as illegal. The additional trading post marker works differently, though, with the green cities than it does with normal cities. As you know, with other types of cities, when you use this marker, there needs to already be at least one trading post in the city where you're using it. That's not the case with the green cities, though. Even though Belgard was totally vacant, Yellow was able to use that bonus marker to move a piece in there. The part where yellow treats placing a trading post in Bellegarde as completing the city really catches people off guard. It feels counterintuitive, but it was done correctly. It's still possible to keep putting trading posts to the right using the permanent bonus marker, or to the left using the additional trading post bonus marker, but for the purposes of the completed cities track, just one trading post is enough. We're back to blue now, and for her first action, she'll take a cube from her personal supply and place it. For her second action, she'll displace the red cube and then pay an extra cube to the general stock. Red will move that cube to an adjacent route and also take a cube from her general stock and put it on the same route. Then for her third and final action, blue will create a trade route between Havelberg and Waren. First, she'll score the adjacent cities. There's nothing on Havelberg. Green has control of Waren, so a point for green. Then blue will clear all the pieces from the route, moving them to her general stock, and she'll develop her action ability. That move was legal. The point here was just to show that the green cities do score just like regular cities. Green had control, so when a route connecting to Waren was completed, green got a point for that. We're going to start things off with green, and before green even takes his first regular action, since he's got privilege in Carlisle, he'll use his free placement to put a piece into Scotland. Green currently gets 3 actions on his turn, so he'll use all 3 of those actions to take 3 cubes from his personal supply and place them all on the Chester-Hereford route. There's no such thing as a free action just for having permission. What permission is doing for you is it's allowing you to use a regular action to place or displace in the associated area. Now it's yellow's turn, and he has control of London. So he's going to use that permission and take a cube from his personal supply and place it into Scotland. For his second action, yellow's going to create a trade route between Glasgow and Falkirk. No one has a trading post on either city, so there'll be no points associated with that. So yellow will go ahead and remove the excess piece and move a cube into Falkirk. For his third action, he'll again take a piece from his personal supply and place it on the Cambridge to London route. In the cities that grant permission, that would be London, Cardiff, and Carlisle, control doesn't matter for permission. Permission is determined only by rightmost trading posts. Next up is blue, and for her first action, she'll take an income action and take 3 pieces from her general stock. Blue currently has 1 permission in Wales due to having rightmost position in Cardiff. So for her second action, she'll take a displace action, displace that red cube, and pay a second cube to the general stock. Red will move that displaced cube down to the Conway-Montgomery route and introduce a bonus cube from general stock onto the same route. For blue's third action, she'll create a trade route action between Conway and Chester. First, she'll score the adjacent cities, and yellow will get 1 point. Then she wants to establish a trading post, so she'll remove the excess pieces and move a cube into Conway. That move was legal. The part people tend to second guess is how red handled that displacement. They'll see that red doesn't have any permission in Wales and think it might be illegal for red to be introducing a new piece. But that's fine. Once you get a piece introduced into a region, if it gets displaced, you still get to bring in that bonus piece to the same region. It might be worth noting here that even though red chose to take that displacement and move it within Wales, she didn't have to. There were adjacent routes in England that she could have moved those pieces to, but Most people would not opt to do that because it's hard to get pieces into Wales and Scotland in the first place. So normally if you get displaced, you're going to want to try to stay in those regions, but you're not obligated to. Now it's Red's turn. She wants to take a move action. She's currently at the second level of her book of knowledge, so she can move 3 pieces. For her move action, Red's going to move a disc, and a cube all down to the same route. For her second action, she'll create a trade route between Southampton and Calais. First, she'll score the adjacent cities. That'll be a point for yellow, point for blue. Then Red will establish a trading post. She'll clear off the excess pieces and move a cube into Southampton. Then she gets to use the Place 2 Tradesman permanent bonus marker. So she'll take 2 discs out of her general stock and she'll place them both into Wales on the Maritime Sea route between Isle of Man and Conway. For her third and final action, she'll do a move. This time she's just going to move these 2 pieces. She'll move 1 cube up to the Isle of Man Conway route and onto the York Nottingham route in England. There were multiple things going on with that move that might raise eyebrows, but it was all legal. One that people might question is how Red had placed into Wales 2 pieces that she just used to complete this trade route. But if you consider the sequence of events on creating that trade route, it makes sense. Going back to how it was, first you scored the adjacent cities, then remove the excess pieces and move a cube into the trading post, then you use the permanent bonus marker. At the time this thing's activated, those 2 discs were already in the general stock, so it makes sense that they were eligible to be used with this permanent bonus marker to be placed into Wales. The other thing that might have looked a little off was how Red handled that move with those 2 pieces that were in Wales. Moving that cube up to the Isle of Man Conway route was fine though. Once a piece is in Wales, or in Scotland for that matter, you can use move actions to move it within that region. It was also fine that Red moved that other cube out of Wales and into England. Using a move action to move your pieces within Wales or within Scotland or out of Wales or out of Scotland is legal. So if you happen to have a bunch of pieces in Wales or Scotland and want to get them out of there, a move action is a perfectly legal way to do it. Now we're back around to Green's turn, and he also wants to take a move action, and he also is at the second level of his book of knowledge, so can move 3 pieces. First, he's going to count his permissions. He's got the rightmost trading post in London, so he's got 1 permission for either Wales or Scotland. He also has the rightmost position in Carlisle. That gives him 1 more permission, in this case just for Scotland. He's going to make use of those 2 permissions. He'll take a move action and move 2 cubes from the Chester-Hereford route up into Scotland. He can still move a 3rd piece, so he'll move that cube from the same route down to the London-Canterbury route. For his second action, he wants to establish a trading post, and he quick checks his privilege level to verify that he's at pink. He's going to create a trade route between Glasgow and Falkirk. First, he checks the adjacent cities. Yellow controls Falkirk, so that'll be a point for yellow. Then he'll remove the excess cube and move a cube into Falkirk into the pink space. For his third and final action of the turn, he'll take income, so he'll take 3 pieces from his general stock. Permissions only allow you to take place and displace actions in the associated countries. As I showed a moment ago with Red's turn, you can move pieces within a country and you can move them out of Wales or Scotland back into England, but you can't use move combined with permissions to introduce new pieces into Wales or Scotland. We're going to skip ahead now to the final scoring of the game. We've already figured out the scores for Scotland, so now we need to figure them out for Wales as well. The Isle of Man is included in the Welsh scoring, but no one has any trading posts there, so we can ignore that. So that leaves us with just 5 Welsh cities to count. I'm going to go ahead and clear off the excess pieces here that are just sitting out on the routes because those don't have any game effect now anyway. So we count blue is having 1 controlled city and 2. Green has 1, 2. And then yellow and red have 0. Because blue and green each have 2, we'll then go to the tiebreaker and count trading posts. Blue has 1, 2, 3. Green has 1, 2. Blue wins the tiebreaker and gets the 7 points. Green is second, so gets the 4 points. Yellow and red both have just 1 trading post each, so they'll split the remaining 2 points. That scoring was done correctly. The part that trips people up is whether or not yellow and red should even get any points, since they don't even have any controlled cities. But if not enough players have controlled cities to claim all the scoring spots, then you look to the number of trading posts. In this case, blue and green claimed the first 2, but then the 2 had been unclaimed. So then you look at who has the most trading posts of the players who didn't score, and yellow and red both tied. So then they split the remaining score and each get a point. Alright, that wraps things up for this video. Hopefully you got something useful out of it. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.